What's up, everybody? I'm ItsBTrue, and today I want to go over a very interesting topic that has been brought up about the Assassin update that is coming somewhere in the next few patches here. Now, real quick before this video starts, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sabonet YT11. I really hope I'm saying your name correctly, but he decided to make a thumbnail for me for my patch 6.17 biggest changes video. Now, if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link down below so you can check out what the biggest changes were for patch 6.17. But the thumbnail for that video was created by Mr. Sabonet. I see him commenting on all my videos, and I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you creating that for me and sending it to me. It's a really big help. So anyway, on to the topic of the video, which is the possibility of new objectives that will be created specifically for assassins in the Assassin class update that will be coming soon. Now, I have to give credit to a channel named Jeremy Gaming Curios. If you guys like League of Legends videos, you've probably at least heard of him, if not watched his videos, but he is the first one that I saw who actually made a video about this, who brought attention to it. So you should definitely check out his video about this topic once you're done with this video, of course. I mean, don't leave this video to go look at his. Like finish this video, and then you should definitely go check out his video about it. But anyway, in his video, he said about how there were a lot of hints that the Riot developers have been dropping about the potential updates for certain champions that have led him and some other members of the community to believe that Riot might actually be creating an objective that is solely designed for assassins, or at least an objective that would benefit assassins the most out of any other class of champions. Now, some of the hints that Riot have said are like, so when they're talking about Talon's rework, they said that situationally, he could become the most mobile champion in the game. And then for Katarina's rework, her Shunpo, her dash ability that lets her get into fights, they also said that situationally, her Shunpo could be used in different ways during different scenarios. Riot also said that they were tossing around the idea of creating an objective that would either benefit assassins the most, or that assassins were very good at taking, which would help benefit your team overall. So when you mix this all together, you've got an objective that is designed to help assassins, and then they're looking to implement situational utility into different abilities for the assassins that they end up reworking. So what I think is really awesome about this is, what if they created an objective where if your team got it, so it would be a team-wide buff, if your team got it, it actually augmented some of the abilities that the assassins on your team had. So for instance, with Katarina's Shunpo, maybe her Shunpo will kind of work sort of the way that it does now, where you can kind of dash into the enemy team, use your rotation and everything. But what if you had this objective, this buff to the assassins on your team, that she could use her Shunpo to dash in, use her abilities, and then it immediately came off cooldown so that she could Shunpo either back out or farther in, even if she didn't get a reset. So it augmented the ability so that she could use her Shunpo twice, almost in succession. So kind of get in, get out, or get in and then get further in. Same thing with Talon. Maybe he has an ability that gives him sub-mobility. However, if you get this objective and you get the assassin buff onto your team, then all of a sudden your mobility increases largely, and your whatever mobility skill that you have gains some sort of an additional effect. So this wouldn't be completely new to League of Legends because Victor functions that way. As you upgrade Victor's his Hex Core item, his abilities start to have slightly different effects to them, and they either do more damage, have more utility, whatever. So it's sort of like you're upgrading the character as you're upgrading the item, which is a really awesome RPG element that would really make the game a lot of fun. So now, instead of putting it into an item, maybe Riot is looking to create an objective that would end up augmenting the assassins on your team's abilities. And this would actually, even if you didn't have any assassins on your team, it would still be worthwhile to get this objective. One, because it's obviously probably going to give you gold. But two, if the enemy team has assassins, you don't want them getting the buff to augment their abilities, because then you'd be at a pretty big disadvantage with them having these upgraded abilities and you not having any assassins on your team. Now, Riot could do a lot with this concept. I mean, they're going to end up reworking a fair amount of the assassins, and even if they just made one ability augmentable, you could build in a lot more power into the augment of the ability, or at least a lot more utility into the augment of the ability, because it's an objective that you actually have to work for to gain. It wouldn't be overloading kits directly, because they wouldn't have the augment, just all the time. This would be the augment that you would get if you were able to take this objective, if your team was able to be an objective face instead of that assassin running around and just trying to get kills all the time. So this would just be another objective that would be worthwhile for your team to kind of group up, especially your assassins, because sometimes the assassins just go off and try and do their own thing and pick people off. But this would be an objective that the assassins on your team would definitely want to be a part of, so that they can get this buff that will end up augmenting their abilities and giving them a lot more power, utility, uniqueness, whatever it is that Riot decides to add to them. It's really worthwhile for them to focus on getting this buff. Now, I think this is a great concept, and disclaimer, I just want to say that none of this is confirmed yet. This is all just sort of speculation based off of what Riot has said. But I enjoyed the idea so much that I wanted to make a video about it, just to kind of speculate on what all they could do with this objective and what all they were possibly looking to do with this idea, because I love the idea of having every game sort of change, because you got assassins on the enemy team, you got assassins on your team, you've got these potentially augmentable abilities that upgrade into these awesome versions of themselves if you can take this global objective. So then people are sort of grouping up earlier, grouping up around different stages of the map. I think it would just be really awesome to kind of change the way that the game feels and make every game even more unique, since what a champion would be able to do each game could potentially change, because their abilities would not be the same. Now, unfortunately, Riot's already done the marksman and the mage update, so it would be a little too late to add this to them, but I actually think it would be awesome if all classes had some sort of way to augment their abilities to give them these different power spikes or different, potential outcomes for their final abilities in their final build in the game, based off of how you do as a team, how you take objectives, and that stuff. I think that's a really awesome concept that Riot could eventually implement if they wanted to. So anyway, what could Riot do with the objective? Now, one of the problems right now is the map is pretty much full as far as objectives go. There isn't any good place to put a large objective, such as like where the dragon and baron is, anywhere in the map, because you'd end up overloading one side or the other. So let's say if you put the objective up by baron, all of a sudden that side of the map is overloaded. You put it down by dragon, that side of the map is overloaded. So I'm not sure where they would put this objective, or if it even would be an objective that you would have to kill. Maybe it's an objective that you would have to achieve, like a certain amount of kills, or if you have to end up, like acing the enemy team around a certain period of time or something like that. I personally would say maybe take out Rift Herald and replace, or maybe leave Rift Herald, make it a little bit stronger, but then replace the Void buff that you get from Rift Herald with this Assassin Augment ability and give it global instead of just to the people who are there. Or maybe instead of making it global, make it only for the Assassins who are there. That actually sounds like a better idea. Make the buff only for the Assassins who are there, who participate in killing the Rift Herald. So instead of making it like one thing that drops on the ground, you make it everybody who damaged the Rift Herald while you were killing it, you give that buff to those characters. Basically, there is a ton of things that Riot could do with this objective. There's a ton of things they could do with this whole idea of augmenting abilities based off of a global objective for the Assassin class rework. And I am super excited about the potential for this, because if it's a success and it works out really well, Riot will be more inclined to do this for more classes in the future, and we could eventually see a system where, like I said, you have champions who every game feels different with that champion, because the abilities that you use and what you're able to do with those abilities will actually change based off of what buffs that character or your team has, which I think would make the game really unique and make each individual game unique and a lot more fun. And it would it would draw people more into it. It would hold your focus. People wouldn't be bored of playing the same game over and over. So I think it's an amazing concept that they should definitely try to implement if they're able to pull it off correctly and balance-wise. So anyway, I've been rambling about this topic for a little long now, but I'm just really excited about it, and I wanted to kind of get my ideas out there and see what you guys thought about it. So if you enjoyed this video, or if you like the idea of this sort of augmentable skills for the Assassin class update, please click that like button down below. If you don't like this video, if you don't like these sort of like theory crafting videos or whatever, where I just kind of talk about potential changes in the future, please click the dislike button. That way that I know whether or not I should continue making these sort of videos and if you guys actually enjoy it. Please leave a comment down below so I know what you guys thought about this video, if there are any changes or things that you would like to see with the Assassin class update or with this concept that I just talked about. Leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love responding to all of you. If you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date with all of my future videos. I'll be covering the Assassin class update as much as possible. And I've got a couple series out right now. So subscribe to me. That way you guys can stay up to date and see all those the day that I make them as soon as I put them out. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Have a great day, and peace.